There are so many things I could ask you, but I suppose that the first thing is I read a description of you when I was sort of researching your bio, if you like, and either you described yourself or somebody else described you as a professional troublemaker. I love that. I love that label. I'm not really into labels, but I do love that label. Why have you felt you had to make it your life's work to be a professional troublemaker?
Well, we live in this peculiar situation where to achieve the things that almost everybody wants, a habitable planet, decent lives for everyone, decent lives for our children and grandchildren, we have to fight all the world's most powerful forces. It's an extraordinary paradox, but those who possess money and power over us, their interests are almost diametrically opposed to what is, by pretty well common consent, the aims of humanity, which are to sustain ourselves and to have decent lives and to have a decent habitable planet. We are governed by oligarchs. When you say the word oligarchs, people picture Russians, because that's always Russian oligarchs. But actually there are oligarchs throughout the world. There are US oligarchs, there are British oligarchs, I dare say there are some Kiwi oligarchs, and people who own vast amounts of money and other forms of wealth, hundreds of millions of dollars worth, and use that economic power to wield political power. Economic power translates into political power. It's profoundly undemocratic. It's the greatest threat by far to democracy, and it appears to be usurping democracy worldwide, where a very small number of people, if you could think of Rupert Murdoch as being the exemplar, manage to wield more influence over democratic politics than millions of ordinary citizens combined. And that influence tends to be diametrically opposed to what we need to have decent and sustained lives. What billionaires want is to accumulate. They want to accumulate more wealth and power. They want the whole world, really. That's why you spend your life becoming a billionaire, is because you just don't know when to stop. And they can't have the world without us losing the world. And so they have to find means of persuading us that what is in their interests is in our interests. And they have all sorts of clever and subtle means of doing that. They employ very clever people in the form of newspaper editors and journalists and think tank people to devise the means of persuading us to follow their agenda. But if you step back from this and you think hard about it and you care about humanity and you care about the rest of the living world, you have to fight these people. When I was at university, I could see that there was a really clear choice. There was the broad and easy path where you could basically work for the oligarchs. You didn't tell yourself, I'm going to work for the oligarchs. You said, I'm going to work for the Times newspaper or the Telegraph, or I'm going to write a book which supports the interests of capitalism. And that way you would make a huge amount of money, you would quickly achieve recognition and a major public platform. But it seemed to me, they don't need my help. In fact, if I'm to be a good citizen and if I'm to lead a good life, they need as much hindrance as I can put in their way. And of course, I'm just one small person, and so there's a real limit to what I can do, but I've basically dedicated my life to putting obstacles in their way and trying to lay down some of the ideas and research, sort of basis for building a better world, a world not controlled by oligarchs. And yes, that makes me a professional troublemaker.